What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about the new horror film Tarot. We'll be one of a handful of people probably reviewing this on YouTube as it goes up against what's probably going to end up being a juggernaut, the new film Fall Guy. So we decided to take a little risk and talk about a horror movie this week. We're also, before we even get to that, we're going to be talking about some things that are streaming, so you can listen to us talk about the most recent Planet of the Apes franchise, and also the new Zack Snyder flick, which was a part 2, and we are actually going to even touch back in on The Bear again after our talk last week. So buckle up, guys, let's do it. Warning. The following show features reviews from wildly unprofessional critics operating without the supervision of professionals. The thoughts and opinions held by these individuals are not to be taken seriously and do not come from a place of intellectual integrity. This show doesn't reflect the opinions of Criticless or its users. Viewer discretion is advised. What's up? What's up? What is up, everybody? Hello and welcome back. We're so happy to have you. And on our horror week, this is the very first time we've done a horror movie since back in our Critically Aroused days, which we ended up doing a surprisingly large amount of horror movies back then for whatever reason. I think it had to do with Matt.
Well, also COVID happened,
That's
and
true.
A lot of horror movies are easy to make.
Right.
So I think that was what really kind of drove that.
I think you're right. And you, of course.
Well, yeah, of course.
And you're also...
I'm literally the reason we're doing it this week, because I was like, nope, not doing that other movie with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a love story. I want to do something cooler.
Yeah. And well, we'll get into Matt and his decision making in just a little bit here. So,
okay.
But I am curious to see how Fall Guy does, and I think that's what 90% of people are going to be talking about. So maybe we'll give you a good alternative, since everyone's probably going to be talking about Fall Guy this week. But as you've already seen, I guess I will introduce him. Mr. Matt Verlack is joining me this week as usual.
Hey, everybody, I'm back.
Yes, he is back this week. And Mr. Chris Kaus.
Bonjour.
And we are back in our normal attire as well today. Yeah. So I don't have your compressing sweatband on this time, Chris.
Yep.
So my brain is free to think and...
Yeah.
Well.
No, I mean, that's my excuse for sure. It squeezes all the thoughts out of my brain.
It's the brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and dig straight into what's streaming. We've all been watching a few things. I haven't been watching a whole lot, but these guys definitely have churned through a little bit of stuff this past week that we definitely wanted to talk about a little bit. So I guess what we'll do first is let Matt open up on what we're going to be talking about. So
sure.
Get onto your monkey talk.
Yeah, so I've been trying to power through a lot of the Planet of the Apes stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've literally seen nothing except the Marky Mark 1. And so I just finished out the last 2 movies of the recent trilogy, which is Rise of the Planet of the Apes and War of the Planet of the Apes. I would say overall the trilogy's pretty awesome. It's a pretty fantastic trilogy.
Right. And you avoided it for quite a while. I say avoided it. You know, you didn't like try to seek these movies out or anything. So
right, and that was because the first one, I didn't dig that movie. It just, it was okay when I saw it when it first came out. I think it came out in 2011 or 2012 or something like that.
Yeah,
I just wasn't for me at the time. Now rewatching it, which I think I talked about it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot more.
Right,
and then watching Rise and then War.
Right.
They do such a good job.
Dude, some of the best CG, I think, like, straight up ever.
I agree. It's crazy.
Wow. That's high praise.
I mean, straight up, like, you would be impressed, Chris, because you're the big picky guy when it comes to CG. And
that's true.
And these movies, I mean, the second film came out in 2011, and then the third one came out in 2017. And we've actually been having a slew of folks come into Criticless over the past week or so, and have been reviewing these, you included, Matt. And so we've had, people start to trickle in, because next week we're actually going to be reviewing the 4th film technically in the franchise. So if you're on YouTube right now, you'll actually see our review or our page on Criticless, and it's sitting at a 81% for Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and War for the Planet of the Apes is sitting at an 89%. So, and that's by 15 people. So, but for an older movie, and people just now starting to kind of come back to these, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, as Matt said, these are very solid films, and it's going to be very interesting to see next week. We were talking about it before the show started, but what kind of the game plan is here? Because, like I said, the last film came out in 2017. So we are, however many years past that, 6 years.
Nope.
8?
No.
Is that 8? We don't do math here. Don't ask us math.
Yes,
Anyways,
it is 8.
couple of years. It's been a hot minute. So back in 2017. So it's like, what is this going to be? Is it going to be just kind of a soft reboot of this franchise? Like, what's the game plan?
I think it's just going to be like 50 years in the future or 100 years in the future. So I don't know if I think it's a true sequel to this trilogy, and I bet that's what they're doing. I bet they'll do another trilogy.
Right.
It'll be 3 more movies of a completely different storyline.
Right. And from what we've seen, it's probably going to do pretty well, just simply from anecdotally for ourselves, because we went to get tickets, and the opening night showing, which we typically do, is we'll go see opening night on Thursday night, and then we'll come in here and review. It was sold out pretty much in our local theater, and we're having to go to a further away theater.
Actually, what happened was...
Oh, God.
This is an early showing. No, this is an early showing. We're seeing it Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's why they're sold out. I didn't look at the Thursdays.
Because we've gone to some of those before in the past and different things, and they're typically not multiple weeks out sold out. So,
Right.
I mean,
Agreed.
still, it's interesting. I'm going to be curious how the turnout for this movie is, and if Fall Guy has a lot of legs and ends up kind of dominating for another week, or if, because Taro is not going to be pushing Fall Guy out. I've only seen one trailer for this movie, and it was in theaters for another movie. So it'll be interesting to see what the box office does, because in our local Dolby theater, Challengers has been playing, which is so weird because that's typically reserved for action movies or just something that's going to put a lot of butts in seats is what's in the Dolby.
It's like a lot of high fidelity, for,
Right.
like if you have good sound, which I mean, I guess we haven't seen Challengers, so
supposedly it's good cinematography.
yeah.
But
I mean, it's about tennis, so who really gives
Tennis
shit?
and edging.
Am I right?
So, I mean,
Yeah.
right, we'll see. But is there anything else you want to say about this franchise, really? Or
Just that my concern with the new movie
yes,
is that it's not... So the second and third movie are directed by Matt Reeves,
right.
which I know mainly
he's
from his newest Batman movie.
phenomenal.
Great movie. He does not direct the new movie. So
Who is it?
I do not recall.
Excellent question. I can, while you're
Didn't
talking,
even
I
look
can
him up. So
Slacking on his job over here. It's the
Yeah.
one thing Blaine has to do.
Right.
And
Sorry.
you know what? We have to put up with this.
And when you make me have to spell, it takes even longer.
Conquest of the
So
Apes.
yeah, this is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and it looks like Wes Ball is directing it, which is interesting because we have done some Wes Ball things.
my West Ball hole, it's a little lower.
Yeah, well, your West
it
Ball
hangs out.
as compared to your East Ball.
Yeah, my East Ball is more tucked up.
Makes sense. So yeah, he did the Maze Runner movies. I knew I recognized his name.
Okay.
So yeah, well, I guess this is similar dystopia type of movie, so maybe in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But
And the Maze Runners weren't bad. We went and watched them like a year or two ago, and it was the first time I'd ever seen them.
Right.
And they were okay. They weren't bad movies.
it's an interesting, neat
That's
franchise.
surprising. I've never seen it, but my gut reaction, I'm just like,
The problem was it got eaten alive because it was kind of like Hunger Games for boys. And, but it came out.
wait, Hunger Games isn't for boys?
You know what I mean.
Excuse me.
and it basically, it was a book series as well, and those movies came out at the same time, and it was a lot of conflicting, just those like young adult movies were all coming out at the same time that were very similar.
Yeah, that's probably the reason I didn't go and see them.
Right.
That's exactly it.
Because I remember when the book was out in high school and I wanted to read it, and for whatever reason I just never got around to it, but I remembered it being good. So yeah, we'll see how the next one is in, a week. So touch back in for that. And I did not preface in the beginning, but as usual, we're sponsored by Criticless, my company. If you are not a member, do not have the app yet, or not on our website, definitely do that. Download the app and go ahead and hop in and say hi. Go to our website, create an account however you'd like, and just say what's up. It's an entertainment reviewing platform for talking about movies and TV shows, and it's a whole lot of fun. It's very social and communal, and we've just tried to bring fun back into movie reviewing, and that has been the entire goal with the platform, and it seems to be working, and people are having a lot of fun, so definitely come and join us with that fun.
Yeah, and it's free.
Yes, it is
So,
free to use.
Yeah, and it's great just to have a community of people to talk to, chat with, if you're into that kind of thing, which I am totally. I love chit-chatting.
Oh,
Just
yes,
get out
everybody
there
knows.
Every day, every hour. But it's good. I highly recommend it.
Please come.
I mean, I just did, baby.
We need to clip that.
With that face.
someone clip that, please.
All right, I'm good. We can wrap this up now.
That's it. Let's go. Time to get out of here. So, Matt, as you come, would you want to talk about the bear?
I'm going to leave that for Chris
Chris?
to talk
Okay.
about. But I did want to talk about Idiocracy.
Okay.
I
I forgot
rewatched
you were
that
talking about
again.
Yeah.
Because Xena hadn't seen it yet.
Ever?
Ever.
Nice.
Yeah, her
What'd she
first
like?
viewing.
Or how'd she like it?
She liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched a couple days ago. I can't remember exactly what she said
Okay.
about it. It was kind of late and we were ready to go
It's
to bed.
not about her. Tell me how you liked it.
Right.
man.
God, it's a hard movie to watch. It's like, it's a comedy, and you guys know I don't really do comedies.
Right.
True.
Right.
It's true.
But it's also a prophetic.
It is
Documentary.
extremely prophetic.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
So it's one where it's like, oh man, this is kind of sad to watch because
Right.
you can draw parallels. And this movie is
It was ahead of its time.
12 years old, 13 years old.
I think it's more
2006.
than that.
Yeah,
I was
more
gonna-
than
that's-
that.
Yeah.
It's almost 20 years old.
Yeah.
close.
So the problem is that you're watching and you're going, wow,
Yeah.
we might actually
there.
be like this.
We're there.
In a different ways, but
Yeah.
we could get to that in the next couple hundred years.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I did find some of the comedy gets tedious
Yeah.
over like past the halfway point of the
potty
movie.
humor.
It just kind of gets not funny. Like it is funny, then it isn't.
Now, this
funny.
is according to Matt.
Well said. well said.
So hey, you guys asked.
Right.
No.
So
I-
that's my opinion. And Chris, I know you quoted this last week, so I wanted to.
Oh yeah.
It was part of the reason we went
Electrolytes.
ahead and watched it.
I was
'cause
trying to
it has the
remember-
electrolytes.
Right. Yeah, I was trying to remember Terry Cruz's character's name in this because it's Camacho something.
Camacho
but isn't-
Jones.
There's like
There's
Mountain
a
Dew.
lo-
There's something about
there's a-
Mountain Dew in
yeah,
the
there's a- he's
name.
got-
Oh no, yeah, his
sponsored.
full
Yeah.
name has like Mountain Dew in it. And it's like 5 names.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's if especially probably younger audience folks, there's a good chance you haven't seen it. And I mean, it's an hour and a half comedy, like pretty easy to watch.
Yeah.
It's one of the dumbest things you'll ever see.
Oh,
But like
yeah.
Matt said, it is extraordinarily and painfully prophetic.
Yeah, or it can be. It's one of
Yeah.
those like doom messages,
Right.
where it's like this could be our future.
Right.
But it's funny because like it starts off with, the smart couple being like, oh, we only want one child, and
Right.
we're gonna wait till the right time.
Yeah.
And then like the dumb couple has like, the dumb guy has like 10 to 12 kids.
Right.
And I was like, wow, we
Well,
waited a
it's-
long time to have our
And I mean,
child,
honestly, let's be brutally honest. It was pretty easy for them to predict because all they had to do is look at our current society at the time and then look at the Communist Manifesto. And then they'll be like, that's probably where we're going to be in about however many years. And it's exactly what's happened. We have followed the Communist Manifesto and here we are. So, I mean, that's basically what this movie is ripping on all that. But,
Yeah.
it's a fun one.
yeah.
It is fun, and it points to a lot of, topics as far as eugenics and birth rates and population control and education degradation and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's
and
poignant.
it prophetically they discovered Crocs. Literally, this was the first place that Crocs showed up, and when making the film Idiocracy, they decided that they found Crocs and they were like, these are the dumbest, ugliest shoes ever. No one's ever gonna wear these. We're not gonna have to worry about it. We can make these the shoes of the idiot future. And here we are, all wearing Crocs. So,
well, but I mean, I don't have. But I will
I don't
say,
have any.
back whenever I worked like janitorial stuff, I bought some Walmart brand Crocs. So they were off-brand
It
Crocs.
doesn't
Even
get
cheaper.
worse.
Nice.
They were like $15 brand new. Or those shitters on the roofs and like walking because because they're made out of
grippy.
cellophane or whatever the hell it is. It just stuck to
something that's not biodegradable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pure plastic.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah. So that was mainly what you were going to talk
Yeah.
about, right, man?
Yeah. And I'll chime in later on.
Cool. Yeah. So will I. So, Chris, I guess we can pivot over to you since I don't have a lot. I've only got
Pivot?
one thing. Yes, we are going to pivot. And you've got a few things. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. I want to talk about sex. I want to talk about The Bear season 2.
Yes.
Blaine has rambled on about this.
I have
for
not
many
shut up.
weeks, and but no, it is actually good. I watched the first season
Good
whenever
or
it
great?
came out. And
Extraordinary.
shut up. And so I watched the first season whenever it came out. Loved it. It was great. It was a great look into service industry. I've never been at that level of service industry. I worked at Sonic.
We worked at Sonic,
Yes.
baby. We was roller skating and serving hamburgers.
I'm not going to
you know?
pretend to be on the same level.
I don't know. We were pretty high class on those rollerblades.
Yeah, buddy. We had to bring around rollerblades. They
did.
stole my motherfucking rollerblades.
They stole your rollerblades?
They never gave them back to me.
Sons of bitches.
I know. Because I didn't show up for a meeting and then I never showed up again. So
That'll do it.
it's still their fault.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't go back for them. But no, it is great. It is really good. I don't know what kind of spoilers, but I will say my favorite arc is Cousin's arc.
Yes.
He's the best.
I've been
part
telling
of
Matt.
it.
Yeah.
And
He's not there yet.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm an episode away from that because I've also been watching it, and
Yeah.
I'm a season and a half in. I just saw the Christmas episode, and so I just literally finished that right before the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he said the Cousins episode's next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, both of you,
Yes.
your opinion of that without getting spoilery. That episode with the holiday one
the Christmas
gave me
episode.
so much anxiety. I'm not an anxious person.
Right.
Like, I don't have it. I'm not somebody who claims that, I'm anxious or whatever.
Right.
But that episode, I was just like, I want this to end. And it was the longest one
It's
of the whole
an
series.
hour-long like movie.
I was like, this
basically.
is never ending.
But like, it's also phenomenal. Like, really, really well made.
It is well done, but it made me not feel good. So, but it is well done. I respect it.
Yeah. Having just watched it, it gave me like PTSD anxiety.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
It was just like flashbacks to like childhood, like
Right, chaos
holidays,
family.
chaoses.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God.
Oh yeah, because in a nutshell, the episode takes place, and I mean, if you know the characters from The Bear, they are very like high energy, just off the wall, ridiculous, like stressful characters. And this whole episode is basically a flashback showing you why they are the people that they are.
Right.
So,
The root of the issue.
yes, which was the mommy.
Yes.
They all got mommy problems.
Yeah.
So, anyways, continue.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's great. I don't want to give any more spoilers away from it, but we can talk about it afterwards. There's something I want in my life that's in that movie,
Okay.
and she's got beautiful eyes. Doughy. No, but it is good. I recommend it, especially if you enjoyed the first season. It is.
It's not
I feel
the
like
same.
it is different.
It is a different
by a good bit.
vibe.
And there's also people self-sabotaging makes me angry. But it's a great story. Highly recommend watching The Bear 2.
Yeah,
Season 2.
season two.
Both of them, actually.
Right. And yeah, because season one, and I can't remember if I said last week, but season one is very much them kind of getting thrust into a broken restaurant and trying to keep it alive. Season two is about building something new and starting and running, operating a business and the difficulty of that.
Yeah.
True. And we were talking about it. It should just be a 3-season show. And
Agreed.
that's it.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I hope that's what they do.
Yeah. And season three is just, continuing right where season two left off and kind of building, and then that is the thing.
Yeah. This is Hulu, right?
Yes, it is.
Is it a Hulu original?
It's FX.
It's FX original.
Okay, FX. I want
Which
to
is
say that they
Fox.
do good, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that they let things linger too long, even though Sunny is like the longest running
Right.
series or something like that. Anyways,
And then Sons of Anarchy lasted a while. Like
Yeah.
they had some other shows that lasted a while, but they don't typically beat a dead horse. It's not like how AMC did with like The
Fucking
Walking
Walking
Dead
Dead.
and just won't let it die. Like FX typically, I mean, outside of something like, because I think that was where Archer came on. Archer lasted like freaking 15
Archer's still
seasons.
on, I'm
Still
pretty
go.
sure.
Right.
or
so-
17,
Which
I think.
Animated shows do tend to be different. It's kind of like if they do well, they will just go on forever.
Yeah.
But so, anyways, but yeah. You
Yeah.
can continue.
So that was The Bear 2. So the other thing that I watched was Rebel Moon episode
Part 2.
Part 2.
The Scargiver.
Scargiver. Thank
Yes.
You're welcome.
Which is currently, I do, let me say as well, The Bear is currently at a 95% still on Criticless. So, very high audience score.
I'll have to change that. Just kidding.
And then Rebel Moon Part 2, Scargiver, is sitting at a 29%. It is a bogus. So, Chris, let's know where you sit with Scargiver here. Oh, you made notes. Oh, wow, you do have
That's
notes.
all those notes are for
how good it is. How much you love it.
no.
All the
Which
great
is-
qualities of the movie.
Wild, because I really enjoyed the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
Really liked it. It was great.
So why didn't you like the second one?
This
Was
one,
it all
something I
of
don't
the
know if-
farming? Was it all of the grain?
There was gratuitous amounts of farm porn going on. Look, I like grain as much as the next person, but
I don't. It's evil. Hurts
Oh.
my tum-tum.
True.
This movie's my nightmare.
Loser. He's allergic to a plant like an idiot. No, but okay. Let me just run through. I won't go through all of these things, but there's starting off initial dialogue where they're running through names. Talk about like overloading you. Like you're
With
complaining about
information.
Dune 2, right?
Right.
Or Dune in general.
And jargon and
Like the names of things. They were naming people and places and events, and it was just like, this is the first 5 minutes of the movie, and I'm just like, I have no idea what any of that means. It has been a minute since I watched the first one.
Right.
It doesn't last forever. Let's see. The cheesiest of cheese. I feel like the dialogue was atrocious, and their acting, I don't remember it being this bad in the first one, but it felt so bad.
We have come to the conclusion that Zack Snyder probably does not need to write things. Maybe
he wrote this?
He wrote this.
He written it?
That tends to be the case. Is when Zack Snyder gets a pen and paper or some keys in front of him, things are not gonna go great.
Yeah. I put down that it felt like they were trying to be like Shakespeare, but
Right.
it just comes across in the worst way.
Yeah.
Like it's just the cheesiest of cheese for all the dialogue. Like, I wasn't scared of dying. I was scared of losing you. It's like, okay, yeah, oh great. Yeah, I've never heard that before. Super original. It really, pulls on my heartstrings. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I feel extremely critiquey about this. And I really enjoyed the first one. It
Right.
just felt like am I misremembering the first one?
So the first one there was less dialogue in the first one, and because it was a part one, I think a lot of us gave it a pass. Because for some of its the shortcomings that it had, because we're like, well, there's a part two, like it will continue and it's going to be like another part to this movie. It's only a couple months away. But I think that they saved the dialogue for part two, apparently. And
God.
yeah.
I wish they would have kept saving it for Netflix.
I mean, for the next 3 movies, because Zack Snyder said he wants to make 3 more movies.
Yeah,
3 more?
I don't think that's going to happen, personally.
It's not. There's no way.
It's not
no
doing
way
good.
Netflix is going to let that happen.
This movie's
Unless
not
he
doing good.
funds it himself or something like that.
And that's
but-
not going to, yeah.
I mean, I won't read through this whole thing. I'll put it in a review.
So
eventually,
is this
like
a
month from now.
heinous or a bogus?
What's worse?
Heinous.
It's a bogus.
Okay.
And I would even, I don't know, because like the best part of the first movie was the robot,
Yes.
and he didn't make a huge splash in
Really?
this one.
And he wasn't even in the first one enough.
You're wrong.
Tell him, Matt.
He's
Let him have
literally
it.
in this movie like triple the amount he was in the first one. The
He's
first one,
barely
he's
in the first
barely
one.
in it.
He's barely in this movie. You
I
see
mean, he's
shots
not in
of
it
him
as much as
standing on
he
a
should
hill.
be, but he's still in this movie a lot more than he was in the first one.
No.
The first one, he only had like
Hell
2
no.
scenes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's barely in it.
No.
He was that
Okay,
memorable for you. That,
Okay, we'll have to talk about this off screen.
Why?
Camera?
Why?
Okay, we can talk about it now. We can do spoilers.
Let's fight.
Fuck
I want to
it.
watch you guys beat the shit out of each other.
The thing is I enjoyed this movie. Xena and I both enjoyed this movie. And we're like, this is a rad movie. And then everybody's coming after this movie. I'm just like,
Well, I will say,
you guys couldn't just sit back and enjoy it. It's literally a continuation of the first movie, which kills me.
Sit back and enjoy it. What are you enjoying? You're enjoying them building barricades and using scythes and giving shitty speeches?
This is literally the same storyline that's done over and over again, which, yes, I understand this is a repeat, but it's literally a space version of Seven Samurai. Or
How dare you, first of all.
it is literally the same
Yeah, and
story.
I don't have a problem with the story. It's the way that they tell it. The telling of the story.
I literally didn't have any problems with it. I was like, this is a different take on it, and it's supposed to build community and really kind of bring everybody together.
It's how it's executed. Let me put it that way. It's executed poorly. Like, absurdly.
didn't
Like,
have any
everybody
problems
talks
like
like
that.
robots, and there was, like, supposedly, like, really impactful speeches or one-liners that they would say, and it was just, it hit the mark across the board for me. I don't know. Again, I love...
I mean, you're
went
not in the minority. I am.
yes, Matt
look at
is
my
in the
stuff.
minority.
I'm a minority person.
He is.
I
I mean,
am a minority.
You're not. You're a majority.
yeah, this thing is, like I said, it's sitting at a 29%. So, and the only reason that my friends with benefits score is a 54
Click it.
is because it's you and your wife.
Yes.
but then Alex, salty nerd, he gave it a 30% bogus. So most people are not liking this movie. It's just not doing that great. So,
But I'm excited for the full director's cut
now,
because
so yes, I
part
didn't,
1, part 2 combined in a R rating. Let's go.
I don't know that they're going to combine them. I think they're actually going to be separate parts.
That's
Part 1,
fine.
Part 2.
R-rated. Let's go.
Yes. So he literally did change the name of Part 2. It's not going to be called Scargiver. It's going to be called like Chalice of Blood or something for the R-rated version. So apparently, and it's rated R for literally like everything that a movie can be rated R for. It's like nudity and violence and blood.
Sexy, naked robots.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what I want to see.
So, but yes, I did not watch this. Now, I did give the Part 1 a fairly favorable score. I think it was in the rad for me. But after hearing everything about this one, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the rated R version. Like, I'm not.
You bitch.
I know, I bitched out. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Watch it. Go watch it. You got to split us up. Me and Matt. Look,
Yeah,
I'm
pick a
probably-
side. Pick a side, Blaine.
What if
Yeah.
I'm just in the middle and I'm decent? What if it's. What
That's
if
fine.
It's
That's
just
fine.
decent?
That's
Look,
a side.
hey,
It's a bitch
don't-
side.
don't be scared to be
All or
yourself,
nothing.
Blaine, okay? Don't let us influence you.
Actually, so I did want to intervene for just a moment because I got a text from my dad, and so you guys, we've never
up,
talked
loon?
about. Yes, the loon. Yes, well, we have not talked about on the show, but my dad actually shares an office area with us. So we have our office, and he has an office across from us. And him and my son were apparently hanging out just a moment ago, and my son told him, he said, "Dad, do you know that your office looks like a teacher's lounge?" Or Papa, he said, "Papa, your office looks like a teacher's lounge." And then mid-sentence stops and says, "But by the way, have you seen my dad's boob?" And so I have a stress titty in my office, and that was apparently his entire sentence was, your office looks like a teacher's lounge, and have you seen my dad's boob? So, you know.
He does enjoy women.
Yeah, he
So
does. He
is
is my
He's
son.
a ladies' man, for sure.
But I mean, you know, it's imagine any other person, like if my dad didn't know that the boob was in my office, and he was like, "Have you seen my dad's boob?" That would be a weird.
Just when it's like,
True.
have
And it
you
makes me
seen
wonder
my
how.
wiener?
Right, and so then it also brings into question like how many other people has he asked if they have seen my boob?
Right.
So. It makes you wonder.
Yeah, your son's probably been telling all his teachers. Have you-
Probably.
My dad has boobs.
Yes,
That's
he
one of
has a
those
boob in his office.
conversations that I have with the kids about, like, this is not for
this is-
strangers. Like, don't tell strangers this.
Yeah, don't
kind
tell
of
them about the
things. Yeah.
boob. Don't tell them.
There's nothing wrong with the boob. The
Right.
boob's great.
Boob's great. Everybody loves a boob, especially a stress boob. You know what I'm saying? But
All
I mean,
boobs are stress boobs.
stress boobs or stretch boob, which is what I
Yeah.
almost said. I mean, you know.
Eventually.
I mean, at some point, have you seen Barbarian? So speaking of stress boobs, we-
I need to go back to that.
speaking of stress boobs, I have a legit PTSD from those stretch boobs. So those were nightmare fuel. If you have not seen Barbarian, go do that. And then you
They're in
can
my
go.
spank bank. I don't know what you're talking about. Keep them
They're
stored away.
knockers.
You're right. Those are knee knockers. I think
buddy.
was the title of our old Critically Aroused episode, which you can actually find all of our old podcast episodes and reviews on the Criticless Class podcast feed. So
Yep.
it is over there. But anyways, I guess we'll pivot on from Rebel Moon since you guys
Yes.
didn't officially murder each other in the same room. Very quickly, I am just going to mention Late Night with the Devil. So I watched the new film. It's currently actually on Shudder. This was a Shudder movie that came out in theaters, though.
Forgot about Shudder.
Yeah, and this movie is really freaking cool. It's not the best thing that I've ever seen. I think that the last 15 minutes or so, it kind of, I don't want to say it falls apart because it doesn't fall apart, but I think it falls short from what it could have been. So I do highly recommend watching Late Night with the Devil. I don't want to spoil too much of it. Chris, you probably don't know anything about it, but
That's a fair assumption.
as usual.
I
But
know nothing.
It has 44 reviews on Criticless and has at an 80%.
44?
44, yeah.
Hey, Zeus.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's at an 80%. So it's still in most excellent. And it is very cool. It is actually starring, I wanted to pull it up here, and for some reason I don't have it. Why are we not getting cast showing? Here we go. Drop down. In this movie, it stars David Destmal, something. I don't know how to say his last name, but he was the Polka Dot Man, correct? Wasn't he Polka Dot Man?
Yeah.
So he does a excellent job in this movie. But what's really cool is, so the film opens up and it's done like a documentary, and it's about a late night TV show and this guy who was the host of the late night TV show. But then what it does is it pivots from the documentary, and it says, we are about to show you unseen footage of not unseen, but like, I guess, a hidden footage that's not around anymore of the very last episode of this late night TV show from the 70s. And then it cuts and it goes straight into like a 70s late night TV show.
Yeah.
And the whole movie looks like that. It feels like that. And it's just super cool. It's very much a vibe. It's super 70s, but it's a horror movie, which is kind of the spin on this. And it digs into conspiracy elements and spooky things, but it's not too scary. This isn't like a super freaky movie. It's more of almost, I think of it more of like a comedy horror, even though it's not billed that way.
Yeah, I think they're trying to go for like a thriller horror.
Right, 'cause
but
it's
it's
not-
also so stylized because
Right.
it is a 70s
Yes.
late night show kind of host. I mean, I also watched and I really enjoyed it because it was a very fresh take. And with this being a Shudder original and going into theaters, which is a big deal because I mean,
Shudder
a lot
especially.
of times, like not a lot of streaming services put their stuff in theaters.
Sure.
Right.
And so they did a 1 month review. That's why we have 44 reviews.
Right. And it did very well. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people have seen it. Word of mouth was really good. It's an hour and a half. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Like, it's
Right.
just a really freaking cool movie. It's one of the most, like, inventive, kind of creative things I've seen in a while because it's all about possession and very spooky, supernatural things, but on live TV, and it's playing out that way. Now, the only thing that I didn't really like as much is in between some of the live footage, it would switch the format to your typical, widescreen format for the movie, and it would go into black and white, and it would be behind the scenes of what was happening. And I kind of wish that they had done it like somebody was like boots on the grounds with almost like a home video documentary camera or something,
Yeah.
whereas it was almost too crisp, so it kind of broke it where
You wanted the shaky cam
Yeah.
in this situation.
Kind of so, yes. I wanted it to, because it kind of breaks the immersion because the TV moment elements are so good. It feels like you're watching a late night TV show.
Yeah.
And it's very long cuts and like very just kind of, it's so 70s. It's really cool. But I didn't have a ton of complaints, but that was kind of one of my more nitpicky ones. And then just that last 15 minutes or so, it kind of also breaks the immersion in the same way.
Yeah.
But it's one of the coolest things that I liked about it is it's conspiracy related. And it's very much digging into like the Hollywood politician elite conspiracy realm. And it pays
Okay.
off. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool movie.
Honestly, it sounds like a really cool idea for a series. Like, I mean, Black Mirror gets what kind of rap Black Mirror
Right.
gets, but it feels like it could fit in that kind of a
Oh, it could.
genre of like, I don't know. It feels like it could be an episodic kind of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it does kind of feel like that. Like it could have been an episode of TV. It's only 30 minutes longer. Like it's cool. I really dug it. It's very strange. I would even be interested in seeing like a similar event kind of a movie, except for maybe on a 80s late night TV show. And
Yeah.
maybe like
Right.
a 90s late night TV show.
Dude, that would be a really cool continuation because of the content or like what they're talking about
Right.
in this movie.
Right.
If like you're
And the
saying they
Satanic
did.
Panic
and they were even like, hey man, something weird happened in the 70s. Let's see if we can do it again to like save our show or something like
Right.
that. That'd be really cool.
Right. Or it's like being that it dealt with these politicians and all this stuff, and I don't want to spoil too much. I'm really trying to like hold back from saying
Yeah.
spoilers of this movie, but it's like they could almost even lean into like another experimental late night show host that tried to capture the magic of what happened with this event because it was
Conan
so
O'Brien.
cool. Right. Yeah.
He is the horror man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they could do like some Lovecraft stuff. They could get really weird.
They
with
could.
It
They
could
get
be
really weird.
This could be a fun series if they expand on it, and that's what I think they should do.
Do you think that they're going to come out with like a sequel or another?
It won't be a
movie?
sequel.
I could see
Like a-
Shudder doing more movies.
Right, like a franchise.
Franchising this because I think this is their most successful original that they've
Right.
done. And I
Especially
think they're trying to be like, okay,
ratings-wise.
we can do this.
Right.
Well,
Because
shit,
it
I
could be late night with Cthulhu or something, or like,
Yeah.
it's like just
That'd be
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Something cool like that, and lean into other genres. Whereas this is possession, then we move on to creatures or whatever, and maybe work our way through the years.
Creature feature. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be cool. So
agree.
I highly recommend Late Night with the Devil. It might not be for everybody. I mean, it's weird if you're a fan of 70s stuff. If you're a fan of late night TV at all, like it's not going to be so spooky that you can't watch it. I'll put it
Yeah.
that way. So you could throw out and get a week free of Shudder and go check it out. I would recommend it. It's a fun watch.
Nice.
So I think that's it, though, guys, for what's been streaming. And like I said, I haven't been watching a whole lot. But so I think what we're going to do is move on into our terror review. So buckle up for that, and we'll dig in starting now.
All right, but first, I
Yeah.
want to quickly mention or bring to our discussion board here the little fact of, oh, God.
Boy Kills World.
Boy Kills
We're going to talk about
Boy Kills World, because there's been a lot of contrition on the Criticless website about likes and dislikes and people's expectations for this movie. And all I gotta say is, it's so dang good. If you didn't watch the last episode, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Listen, I mean, I'm just going to be completely frank with all of you. If you gave Boy Kills World anything other than a most excellent and maybe a rad, if it's anything under that, then fuck you.
Ooh.
Fuck you.
In a good way. Like the,
Sure. No, listen, this movie is our movie of the year. We had so much fun. Boy Kills World is awesome. It's so good. And I have been on a rampage within Criticless. I threw my weight around a little bit and got vexed to move her score up to a rad. Not really. I say I had her. Basically, she was like 1 point away. And I was like, come on, your review sounds like you love it. And then you gave it a decent. This is bullshit. I demand a recount here. So... yeah, Chris and I had a blast with Boy Kills World, and we dropped our reviews saying it was like awesome, and then everybody's like, meh, it was decent, it was okay, it was fine, and I just don't understand what the problem is, but we actually did get a decent amount of rads here, and the movie is currently sitting at a, drum roll, trying to get to the top here, a 75%, which is not terrible, and I can live with that.
Oh, that's better. That's way better than
it's
I
better
thought
than it was.
Be.
We had a couple that were like disappointing scores, and maybe I don't know if anybody else adjusted their scores because I shamed a lot of people, and I was like, because the problem that I had with it was a lot of folks, they gave their review, and then when you'd read it, you're like, man, they really like this, and then you look at their score and they're like, it was like a decent at best, and you're just like, what? I don't understand. What was your problem then? Why is it just a decent?
Right.
Like, this movie is a lot of fun, so I don't know, but Chris reminded me that we didn't talk about it. And we needed to.
It's it's one of those things that I've found in my life is that expectations go a long ways in professionally, relationships, friendships, even in movies. So if your expectation for this was some, I don't know, some profound introspective look on the condition of humanity, then you're not going to get that. But as an action humor comedy movie, like it does that to perfection.
It was kind of almost like John Wick meets Scott Pilgrim or something.
Ooh,
like in all seriousness, that's
honestly,
like,
dude, that's a really good.
That's kind of the best way, and it's like you can't in both of those types of movies, your expectations can't be too high. Like this movie's gonna be silly, it's gonna be wacky and gory, but brutal, and it's gonna go back and forth from jokes to killing people to a large range of emotions, and it's not gonna have the #1 best story ever written. But it's going to be good, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's good enough. It gets the job done.
It does.
But I think we have beat this horse.
We have.
But we did recap on the scores, which is good.
Yes.
And I'm glad.
And we always say we're going to come back to them, and we always forget. So now what we will do is we'll actually move into our tarot discussion. So if you guys want to stay around, we will talk about, we'll do our spoiler-free review and all the other early talk that we do for the film before we get into our spoiler discussions for this movie. So as far as tarot goes, I didn't mention anybody that's acting in it. It's primarily some no-names outside of one recognizable person that I noticed at least, which is Jacob Batalon, who was in Spider-Man. I'm assuming that's how you say his last name. But he's the only person that I recognize in this movie outside of another actress that I don't really want to mention. She's done a lot of horror movies, but it's...
Why don't you want to mention?
She came in it later, so it's kind of a spoiler. Mildly spoilery. So, and this is it's directed by Spenser Cohen, who I have not seen anything that he's ever done. He's been involved with Extinction, Moonfall, and Expendables 4. But I'm not familiar with him or anything he's done. And I said involved with, not directed.
Same.
So, I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, this movie is off. It's not on everybody's radar. This is probably going to circulate mostly in the horror community, which is a strong community of people that watch a lot of things. But I think this is actually his directorial debut. And according to Criticless doesn't have this, but actually IMDb does, is they say that there's a second director on this, which is Anna Halberg. So I'm not sure, that doesn't line up, but they have been attached on other projects together. So that very well might be the case. It's just not listed currently on Criticless. So it seems like the info on this movie is a little muddy in general, because even on IMDb versus Criticless, the lead actress is not even billed on IMDb. She's not even listed as being in the movie. So it's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on here. So what we'll go ahead and do is move through where we think this movie ranks as far as our themes go. So I'm going to pull it up on Criticless. You guys can check this out. And if you don't know about our themes, basically we allow you to rate language, violence, political bias, sexual content, family friendliness, and, let you know where it sits. So we will go ahead and run these sliders for you so that you'll kind of know what you're getting into. So as far as graphic language, I think at most it's a bit. I don't even know that there were any cuss words.
Yeah. My brain is so numb to those kind of things.
Yeah.
But
it's maybe a bit.
It's got to be graphic for me to be like, oh man, they cursed a bunch.
Right. And it's PG-13, so it can't be too bad.
Yeah.
The nudity and sexual content, absolutely none.
None.
The family friendliness, I would say maybe, honestly.
No.
You don't think?
I think slightly. I mean, there was plenty of jump scares and stuff. Like at 13 and up.
13 and up.
13 and up, I would agree.
I think the word that I have issue with would be friendly. It's not friendly, it's acceptable for family, but I wouldn't say it's family friendly.
Right.
I wouldn't go that far.
For your younger teens, it would be fine. I think.
Oh, 100%.
Younger teens would be fine. As far as violence, I would say a bit more. As far as horror movies go, this doesn't rank high on the violence scale.
Not a lot of blood.
No.
Not a lot of
nothing
blood,
graphic.
But there was some violence.
Keep in mind, Blaine's...
But there was enough violence where
I'm trying to keep it in check until we get to our spoiler-free review.
Blaine's spectrum.
Yes, on a Blaine spectrum, there is no violence.
Blaine is on the spectrum.
Violence-free. I am on the spectrum.
For sure.
But yes, this is somewhere in between, we'll say a bit and a bit more.
Yeah.
So for violence. And then as far as political bias, not really anything political in this that I caught.
None.
So you're good there. So, yeah, that's where we sit with the themes on this. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our spoiler-free review of this. We're not actually going to spoil anything that happened in the movie, but just let you guys know where we sit with it and if we liked it or not. So, I don't know if y'all want... Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
It's Matt's.
I'll go first. I made these guys watch this because I was tired of not doing some sort of action or a horror movie.
All right.
Because especially since we didn't do Abigail.
Yeah.
I thought this movie was okay.
Okay.
It was not a rad. It's not a most excellent. It's a decent.
It's a decent.
There we go.
So like dead center decent, like 50?
I think I would probably give it around a 50. Maybe a little higher. I have to think on a little more. There were elements I enjoyed of this movie. And then some of the story elements I was just kind of groaned about. And then some of the horror elements I thought could have been better.
Okay.
And this movie does uses a lot of jump scares.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that seems to be one of the primary. It does do a good job building suspense early on in the movie, but they kind of got away from the suspense scares further along.
Yeah.
Chris?
Interesting. Yeah. So, Chris, what was your thoughts on this?
I don't like this movie. It's not that I'm not. I mean, historically and factually, I am not a horror fan. I would not categorize this as horror. We all know that I have a high standard for horror. This would be a spooky
has a high
movie.
standard for his horrors. So
that's
$5 horrors.
I was about to call out my ex. I did not care for it at all.
So is this a bogus or a heinous? Heinous tops out at 19%.
It would be bogus. It wasn't like that actively bad.
Right.
It was actively bad, but it wasn't to that extreme.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the redeeming factors are to point somebody in this direction if you were a fan of it. I mean, I think if you're into astrology, if that was like your big gambit and like that's what you really enjoy,
And you weren't into like brutal hardcore horror movies. Also.
sure, yeah, this is like a soft core
Yeah.
horoscope.
Horoscope.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I really, for spoiler free, I don't have much more to say to that.
We
Like,
can save it for.
I can't.
So low bogus.
Yeah.
Low bogus.
I was not a fan, but again, take what I say with a grain of
Listen,
anything you want. Grain.
You did grain. You do not have to take him with a grain of salt. This movie sucks ass. This movie fucking blows. I really disliked it a lot.
Really?
Yeah. This movie sucks. Like I hate that I saw it. Like I do not like this movie at all.
Curious to see why.
Yeah, there are so many reasons why. Yeah.
Everything. Did you see the movie?
Yeah. Did we watch the same movie, Matt?
Yeah, I sat right next to you.
This movie, yeah. Okay, so first off, I mean, for me, typically, 9 times out of 10, if it's PG-13 and it's horror, I'm probably not going to be super into it. There are some exceptions, but most of the time, if it is a horror movie that involves people dying, which is typically a horror movie, it's probably, I'm not going to necessarily love it, but this movie, I'm right there with Chris. I'm at the lowest bogus possible, like a 20%. If not even, I am like tiptoeing on heinous. Like
I could go there and I wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about it either. I think that this movie is extraordinarily poorly written. It is in many cases poorly acted. It is wildly predictable. Every kill pulls its punch. It is not scary at all. It does not provide on the purpose of what the movie sets out to do, which is be a horror movie. It is not very scary. There was one scene in the entire film that I found to be scary.
You jumped a little bit.
Yeah, I did.
But it's a jump scare.
Right. And there are a couple jump scares. I might have jumped like a time or two, but like almost every single account of a death was predictable. I knew what was coming, what was going to happen.
I mean, they literally told us what was going to happen.
They did kind of, but like also that's a problem with it. But even if that wasn't the case, like we can get into it in the spoiler talk because I do want to dig into it, but I think that this movie's bad. Don't watch this movie.
We also saw the trailer.
We did see the trailer. I don't remember much about it though.
The trailer gives away everything. I'm pretty sure the trailer
It gives away most of it.
Really?
every single death.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
If not every, 2/3.
So I was
at
trying not
least.
to watch it when we were in the theater when the trailer was on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Y'all clearly remember it more than me. I didn't remember the trailer at all.
Yeah, I remember at least one death being present in the trailer, but they also gave away like the whole story. Maybe not the nitty gritty of the story, but it gave enough of the story that I knew at a glance what was happening the whole time.
Yeah, it's just extremely predictable. Like if you were to make a horror for dummies, like how to make a horror movie for dummies book, like that's what they did here. Like it is just checking off boxes of like, yep, we've got a bunch of teenage college kids who are really probably close to 30 in this movie, and everyone's going to die but 1 or 2 people, and they're all going to be nice and diverse and whatever, and they're all going to die in very specific ways, and they're all going to say super cheesy shit. And it's just like I was just like, oh, there's that thing that's a trope, and there's that thing, and then the jump scares, and I don't know. I thought this was a really bad movie. But yeah, we can.
Well, now that we've gone into the spoiler zone, as Blaine has described the entire movie.
Well, apparently the trailer did that. So true. But yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess starting now, bail out if you don't want spoilers. We're going to dig into this. And we do need. I just want to talk about.
Skip right past it.
Sorry, I was skipping past the Rotten Tomato scores. So what we do, if you are not familiar, is we talk about Rotten Tomato scores. We like to predict what the critics think. So as far as my personal opinions on critic and audience, I think our audience score is going to be in the bogus somewhere, possibly even low bogus. This is going to be like 20s to 30s by our audience, and I don't think there will be a whole lot of people. Granted, we have a decent amount of horror fan users, but this movie's not getting a lot of buzz. It's not being talked about a ton. It's I think between 20s and 30s. I'll just say a 25 for our audience score, and I think critics are going to be somewhere in the same. This is going to be like a 25 to 30% from critics.
You have to give me a score, right?
Okay, sorry. 29 by critics.
Christopher.
I'm going to say audience is going to be
On Criticless.
yes. That's what you did.
For next time, yeah.
Okay. Is that
Mm-hmm.
okay?
You're good.
I want to make sure I wasn't messing up.
No,
Anything.
you're not messing
Critics, I'm going to be generous and say 41.
Right.
I'm sorry, that was audience. Excuse me. Audience 41. Critics,
Yes.
I'm going to say 32.
Okay.
32. All right, I
Take the high road, Matt.
think I'm debating. I might do a. Let's see. Let's go down here. I think I'll do a. What'd you say for critics?
42. Oh,
Yeah.
no, for critics, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
32.
All right, I'll do a 40 for critics.
Okay.
And I think audience will be a high bogus or a low decent.
I would be shocked if this
PG-13 movies are always just horror movies just suck.
PG-13 horror
They just
movies
need to
suck.
stop making them. But
Yeah.
It's
here
wild.
we are.
There are some PG-13
There are a
movies
few good
that
ones.
are like
I'll say the 45 for our audience score down the road.
45.
Just so no, 45.
Just above me.
Just above you.
I like it.
I think we're all gonna be. I think it's gonna be around there.
Yeah.
So. But you're saying?
I have no idea. We're gonna, yeah.
Well, we were talking about PG-13 horror.
Oh, well, yeah. What I was saying about PG-13 horror is that sometimes it can surprise you. Like, sometimes PG-13 can go harder than ours. I have literally... I guess it also depends on what decade it came out in.
Well, you have to think in the last 20 years then.
Right, like some M. Night Shyamalan
True,
movies can be good, and they tend to be in that range. Like the early Insidious movies, I think were PG-13.
that
Like
M. Night?
Not Insidious wasn't M. Night, but I'm just saying in general his are. Like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I think is a phenomenal PG-13 horror movie. There are some good ones. Like actually, somehow Drag Me to Hell got a PG-13 movie, and got a PG-13, and I freaking love that movie. It's one of the best horror movies ever made. So I mean, there are some good ones, but it is just very particular, and
sure.
and I think part of the problem here, and with this movie specifically, is when you are capitalizing on kills, which this movie did. The movie was revolving around many kills.
Right.
The cast was massive. There was like 8 of them, 9 people, and it was all about the
A
kills.
huge cast
I mean, well,
of 9 people.
as far as
It
your
was-
lead, as far
it
as
was
your
6,
was it
but
6?
sure.
Are you sure it's 6?
Or 7. 2 couples.
4 girls and 3 guys, right?
Yeah. So
No,
no,
there was-
7. Those
Yeah.
are the 3 dudes. Yeah.
4 girls and 3 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris mathed it.
Yeah,
But even then, still not a lot.
right, I'm counting
Sure.
over here. 7 is I mean, yeah. Anyways, I don't want to get into spoilers too deep. So yeah, I mean,
we
it's
do.
a decent enough size of a cast for your main characters and capitalizing on kills and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So, but I think that that's the problem is when a horror movie that's what they're marketing on, and it's PG-13. You've got a problem.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into our spoiler talk now, guys. Bail out if you don't want anything ruined. You're not missing a lot. You can hang around. Spoiler. But yes, we're gonna work our way through this pretty quickly, I think, and just talk about our qualms a little deeper and or what Matt liked, I guess.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, Matt, as the main human in the room who did not like the
Wow.
movie, I know he gets
Or
called
did-
human this time.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's going to be if y'all have any plaques or anything that you can display things on
Yes.
in the office.
Yeah.
Matt is main human.
Main human.
That
Main
is
human?
his
That is.
title in the company.
Yeah,
Main
main
human.
human.
Main human Matt. That's what we like to call him.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him.
Yeah, not an
Main
alien
Matt.
Matt.
That's just how I go. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Main human.
Yeah, the main human.
Yeah.
So main human, what did you like about
Well,
this
so
movie?
okay.
Or do you want to know what we didn't like?
Well, I'll just say the things I did enjoy. Yes, there are elements to this movie I didn't like.
Sure.
Like
Well, yeah,
I was
you-
kind of hoping this would be more of Cabin in the Woods, because imagine if they never left the mansion, and it was
Right.
just like they were just running around screaming and trying to escape, and they were just getting murdered
Right.
all throughout the movie. And this should have been an R.
It should have.
Every horror movie should be an R. It's just my rule of thumb.
Sure.
My
Just
opinion
should
would be a lot higher of this if it had been R. Not that I think that it would improve it that much better, but I think it could have pushed it into decent if the kills hadn't all sucked ass.
Oh, see, I don't think they all sucked ass.
Really?
I liked several of them. I was actually more
liked
pissed
one.
to find out that the I don't know, the Asian guy didn't. I can't remember. The guy from Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Like that he didn't die. I really wanted the fool to actually
Dude,
kill
that's
him.
one of
Like
my big
I thought the fool was pretty creepy, and then I was like, okay, this could be a cool kill, and then they didn't kill, and I was like, well, that's unfortunate.
I think this comes back to what Blaine kind of alluded to in the non-spoiler portion of just like the way that the movie is set up. And even if you hadn't come to the conclusion on your own, if you're, never mind, I won't insult anybody, but, or if you haven't seen the
If you're
trailer,
a complete idiot.
like, then you know what's happening. Like, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
lay it all out for you. Like, all these people die in this specific way, but based off the tarot. Sorry, I'm a plebeian. So it is very predictable just based off the premise of the movie. Like the whole idea of it is they tell you how everybody's going to die. Now, I mean, there's the twist of not everybody dies. So you know you have that.
Honestly, is unfortunate. I was like, man,
Just kill
everybody should just die. Like they should be like, oh, I think we can
After
fix
how
this.
it
We can fix
ended-
this.
Yeah.
They should have all died.
After how it ended, they definitely should have all died. And I guess I didn't preface before as well, but what I should have said is that if you were hanging around and listening to us talk about this, the movie Tarot is a pretty simple concept. It's just that a group of friends go out, they're partying, they find some tarot cards in an Airbnb that has a spooky basement, and they do tarot readings from one girl that knows how, who has the stupidest backstory I've ever heard, and just that is to add into just like her mom dying and all of that. Like it just came across it just came across like kind of lame, and I don't know, like every time, I think it was just how bad the script was, is every time she was talking, like
She honestly was the worst of the actors. Her story, like her telling her story or like reacting to anything.
Her boyfriend was awful as well.
I don't think so. She was worse. She was so freaking flat.
He's pretty bad.
Okay, it's kind of like judging what shit smells worse. Is it dog shit or like
Or-
donkey shit or
cat
human
shit.
shit? Human shit honestly probably smells the worst. But
Depends on what you've been eating, you know?
exactly.
I'm just saying, hers was worse in my opinion between those.
There was some bad acting all the way across the board. Even from Jacob Batalon, who is a seasoned actor and did the Spider-Man movies and stuff, I thought his acting was mid as well. Like, all of the performances here were pretty bad.
He's not a good actor.
He's
I tried watching this vampire show and I was like, this is woke trash.
right.
And I love vampires. Like,
heard
I
it was
wanted
bad.
a good vampire show, and it was just woke trash. And
That's
he
a
wasn't
bummer.
funny in it, and I was like, this just sucks.
Right.
And he keeps trying to do the same kind of character, and I'm like, this isn't a good character. And it's kind of like a play on the Spider-Man character, which was fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not hot on Tom Holland's Spider-Man,
Tom Holland?
except for the last one. So I've never
I like
been
all of
like
his movies.
hot on that,
Yeah.
anyways, or the casting of most of that movie.
Right.
So.
So it wasn't a surprise to you that his acting was not great in this.
Right.
But
Yeah, I mean, but I do think that his acting in Spider-Man was much better than it was in this.
I do too.
So I think that does actually shine a light on how
The directing.
directors and the writers can have an effect on the actors' performances. So
I completely agree.
shout out to those lesser-known people, the directors. Yeah, nobody knows about them or gives them credit for anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt to me like when watching their performances for this movie it felt like they were influencers, which that's
Right.
kind of what I triggered. We were talking about this earlier before we started recording of YouTubers and how atrocious like that persona that they put on.
Some
that
folks are just so absurd and ridiculous. and-
I just don't understand the allure to it or like how that benefits them in any way. Anyways, that's the vibe that I got from the acting that they were in this. It felt like they were influencers being like, oh man, I'm here at this thing and talking about we're gonna play tarot.
There were multiple scenes with the boyfriend, which is why I say that his acting was worse, where there were certain scenes where he was supposed to be making faces of like shock or surprise, and I could not discern whether he was smiling or like gonna laugh, or like there was one scene where he was shocked and he was just like, but I was like, you're supposed to be scared shocked. That is a happy shock. You are the wrong kind of shocked, brother. Like, what is
That's all
happening?
he's got. He's got his mouth open. Because I did note that at the towards
Yes.
the end where they just had his mouth open.
And it was just hanging open.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you going to say something?
No.
And he eventually did. It took like 5 seconds of going,
Right. So for me, the first kill happens, and I was like, which is a kill that I've seen before, which is that someone gets killed by
a ladder.
a ladder from an attic. I've
Yeah.
seen that before recently. I don't know in
Dang
what.
ladders.
The freaking ladders,
They'll get
death
you.
ladders. But right when that happened, because before the movie started, I looked at Matt and I was like, Matt, is this PG-13? He was like, I don't know. And like right when I heard his voice and that inflection, it was him going, oh shit, I didn't check. And
Right.
yeah, because he's of the opinion about PG-13 horror movies as well. And like I said, they're not all bad. Like some are good, but it's just very specific ones. And so, but once she died with the ladder, and I was like, son of a bitch, this is PG-13. Because it was just the delivery of that kill. And also I was like, oh God, like multiple jump scares right in this first kill that weren't good. Jump scares can be good. Do not get me wrong, because I'm actually a person who likes jump scares, and I think they can be extraordinarily effective. I know there are people that hate them, like Chris. Chris does not like jump scares. I do like jump scares if they are done right and they are not used to excess. This movie
Excess.
excess, yes, excess.
Oh, no, I was just
He was agreeing with you, I think.
Yeah, I was agreeing.
Okay.
This movie, excess.
Excess, yes, big time. And that was the problem here, is that it just, every time there was a kill, it was like some of the creatures designs actually could have been kind of cool, but a lot of the time they were like barely showing you them. They were in shadows, in the dark, like hidden. And I'm just like, this thing looks like it could be cool, but I don't even know what the fuck it looks like. Like I don't even know what this creature is.
They also like copy and pasted a lot of the characters. It was
Yes.
literally just like scarred face that you
Yes.
get a flash of. Everything.
Yes.
Just a flash of, loud noise, flash, scarred face, pointy teeth.
Yes.
Done. That's all you got to know.
Every one of them.
Every single, except for the
Clown. Kind of. 'Cause
Kind of,
he
but
has
the
a clown
did
hat.
turn into that. I
It
wish
did.
the clown would have kept happy face the whole time.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree 100%
Well, and
with
the
that.
clown
all I
was
care
like a
about.
weird mask too, and I'm like, I don't think that it needs to be a mask. Like this could have been a cool, scary clown.
I kind of
face.
respect the mask. It's a throwback to like the old, like thespian.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Matt.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's something more creepy about a mask, and that's why movies like Stranger Things.
Right.
I think that's the right movie.
Stranger Things.
Vecna?
No, it's the new movie that's coming out.
That's definitely not strange.
No,
That's a TV show.
Yes,
it's
it is.
The Stranger Next Door.
The strangers.
Yeah,
The
I know what you're
strangers,
talking about.
yes.
Right, where they all just wear masks,
Yes.
and that just completely masks what they look like.
Oh.
I see what you did there.
But also, it just creates a level of horror of unknownness.
Right, of what's
Yeah.
underneath.
Wearing a mask. That's why
Well, yeah.
Jason, Freddy,
Right.
or not Freddy,
They
Jason,
can be, I guess
Michael
you're right.
Myers,
They,
all that
they
stuff.
can be scary.
like sometimes the stoicism of not having emotions
Right.
conveys more emotion than having a human face.
Right. And it's just like my problem kept being out. These horror scenes would happen, and it's like, oh, here's the monster, and it kind of looks like the last one did to some degree, and we're kind of not really showing you it. And typically, you're kind of gonna have one of two emotions. It's either, man, this is really scaring me, or it's not. And in every single solitary scene where the bad creatures or whatever would show up, I was just like, shit, I'm not scared. Every time, that was what went through my head was, shit, I'm not scared.
I think my general problem when it comes to monster horror movies is that once you've seen the monster, it's less scary. And so the best horror movies
Right.
hold those cards close.
Right.
And this is what they tried to do here.
Unless the creature
They-
is just that fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Which doesn't exist.
It can happen like in Insidious with like the demon
No,
thing.
they
or
only
whatever.
showed it for a flash.
Oh, that's true. I
like
guess
2 or
so.
3 flashes. That's literally the movie I was thinking about when I was talking about holding
Right.
your cards close. They only showed that monster a couple times, and you remember it the most.
And I guess it is if also it works if the creatures, if there's multiple creatures in a film and they all look drastically different. But in this
Yeah.
one, they were almost all kind of the same thing, even
They
though
have
they
the
were supposed to
same
be different.
themes.
Yes, the same themes.
Right. They were all very similar skin tone. I mean, they were all different because you had the old lady
Right.
in the attic, then you had the
Right.
fool,
But all you really
and
saw was
the
her
demon,
fingers
and
Yeah. Pointy teeth,
Yeah.
fucked up skin. Like they didn't
Right.
use Noxzema as a teenager. Y'all remember that shit?
Yeah.
It was all along the same scope for sure.
It was.
yeah.
So it just, so we were like working our way through these kills, and it's like, okay, get killed with a ladder, but they pull the punch, and you don't see the kill, and a little bit of blood splatter. Okay,
That
guy,
was the most blood we saw.
The ladder.
yeah,
Yeah.
the ladder maybe,
Well, because it flung it across the screen
right.
or whatever.
And then the train, a little bit of blood across the windows.
Oh, true.
Oh,
don't
that's
see
True.
anything.
Yeah, that was about equal.
Right. So, and then after the train, there was, I'm trying to remember.
The girl being hung from the rafters.
The girl being hung.
Okay, that was the best.
That was the best?
Hung was my favorite.
I actually think the most suspenseful was the kill from the magician where she's getting sawed in half. I think that it was the
hated
most
that one.
intense.
was-
As far
Hated
as
that
those,
one.
you didn't like it?
No.
Okay, at that point, I'd already checked out because
Right.
I mean, I had checked out pretty much from the beginning because everybody. I hate these kind of movies because everyone is so fucking stupid.
Everybody in this movie was so dumb. That comes across through the tropes too.
Right, a
Yes.
trope.
Everybody's so dumb.
They're
in this
the
movie.
most idiotic. I understand adrenaline is a thing, and like I have never been in that position, so you can't say. Like, sure,
But these guys were a special kind of stupid.
It is a special kind of stupid. Okay, but also it also kind of you can't blame it too much based off of the
It's their star
what's-
charts, bro.
what's that?
Their star charts.
True. Yes. The star charts. Can't forget about the star charts. And also, I appreciate the whole like retrograde comment they threw in there. God, now I totally forgot what I was about to say. But
Sorry.
No, you're good. Fuck. What was I talking about?
It's all good.
They was
The types of scares.
Yes.
But now, okay, so
Yeah,
coming
you
back to
talk.
you said that
Oh,
the
look.
bridge scene where she gets hung was the
Yeah.
most suspenseful. That I think that the little creature thing, the little creepy running boy, which also like, what did that have to do with that
creepy
card?
running boy.
Yeah, it was like a little creepy running
Oh.
boy thing that was
In
like
the
hanging
hanging
her.
scene.
That hung her. He was like a little boy.
He was the
We never really
hangman.
saw
That
him.
you kind of
never saw the hangman. He was
Right.
the least. All you saw was his face.
but he was small. He was small and kind of like it looked like a little boy. to
You're a
me.
giant.
Yeah, it was like
So
a
that's true.
golem thingy, I guess. You're right. You
Right.
didn't see it very much. And what did it have to do with the car?
Right.
She was out of the car running. It didn't have anything to do with her kill.
Right. It just everything. Oh God! Every scene where these guys talk too, it was like they would go to explain things, and it was like they'd come to a revelation as well, and you're like, no fucking shit. Like, oh, that's a big revelation. I figured that out and saw it coming from a mile away like 30 minutes ago. Why you guys can't be this dumb?
Yeah.
Well, except for Spider-Man dude. Who
Right.
could? All of a sudden, he was on board for everything. He was like, "Oh, I'm buying
Oh, he
into
was a
this."
yes man.
But then
Yeah.
it comes to like where they actually see shit happen, where it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Oh no, dude, I'm gonna go home and stay in my house, my room. I'm just gonna sit
Just
there.
gonna go get
Like,
murdered."
I know we just saw an actual demon hang our friend in real life, but I don't think any of this shit's real. I was on board before I saw it, but now I'm like, fuck this. I'm gonna
going
go home. Y'all are crazy." It was so absurd.
It was.
Like nobody would be like that.
Would be that dumb.
Yeah, if you're on board with everything, all the absurd rationale, you're driving out to some hobo's house in the middle of nowhere, and he's just like, "Yeah, we should do this." But then you actually see a demon hang your friend, and you're just like, "Nah, man, I'm just gonna go hang out in my house."
By myself.
Huh? Like, how does that make any sense? Everybody is so dumb in this movie.
And then get surprised
It's
when you see the
absurd.
demon clown like giggling behind you.
Right.
That's when you'd be like, oh, yep, I knew that was fucking coming. Like, here comes the
would.
demon clown.
You would 100% think that, and you should immediately be like, okay, what exactly did she tell me?
Wh-
What all
which-
can I remember? Like, don't run away from it, run towards it. Okay, I'm going to walk towards this demon clown,
Right.
even though it's like contrary to what my gut reaction is.
Right.
Breathe. Like, it is so... Everybody in this
Which and
movie
you
is so
you hit on
stupid.
something with him too for me as well, which is that like his character in general, he was the fool, which is a typical college horror movie character.
Oh, yeah.
You got the stoner dumb guy. This actor is not that character. He could not deliver that character. He was not believable as that character.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that the character was terribly written and fucking stupid, he just was not that character. Like this guy he wasn't the stoner bro. He wasn't at all. I did not buy it. I don't care if Gen Z is different. This was not the stoner guy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I've never smoked that kind of weed.
No.
Like...
The boring kind of weed.
Yes.
The weed
Right.
that literally does nothing to you except
Yes.
hold up your vape pen and be like,
Right.
weed.
Right.
Weed.
Like, look at me.
Exactly. That's what he just kept doing. And you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
I'm a trope.
Yeah.
Let me keep reminding you that I'm a trope.
I'm not going to act high ever. I'm not ever going to be funny, but I'm the fool.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, can you actually imagine being stoned and seeing a clown
Right.
in the distance by yourself doing a 360 with its spine. Dude, if you were high
be
seeing
tripping
that,
balls.
I would shit myself immediately.
Think of the comedy that could have been mined from this high guy seeing that shit.
Right.
And there was nothing. And then on top of that, not only the comedy that could be mined from it, but then to lean into that and actually kill this guy while he's high as shit, there's nothing fucking funnier and terrifying as watching a super high yet vulnerable person get murdered. And they didn't capitalize on either thing.
Right. And that's where, if you look at something like Terrifier, which is about a murdering clown,
Right.
like, they do cash in on some of that kind of
Clown's the
comedy
worst.
horror. And it's like, it can be done. And it has been done. So, I don't know. Maybe this movie is bogus.
We're selling it too.
Yeah.
But also, okay, so what I was going to say before is that the actual premise of this movie, excuse me, it's one of those things of like, what? There was like a Freddy or Halloween movie that were reviewed to where he got
probably
murdered
Halloween.
in the street by a bunch of people. They were like beating him up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
It was
about?
Halloween.
Yeah, it was
I
one of the
think.
Halloween.
It was
One of the,
okay,
one of the newer
yes.
ones.
Okay, so it falls into that same line of like this person has supernatural abilities that exceed human capability by miles.
Right.
So we're talking about a dead witch. We'll just call her a witch. What do they call her? It's the thing with the
bruja?
stars. No, it's the star.
it started
Astrologer.
A.
The astrologer.
Astrologist.
So
yeah.
astrologist. Thank you. So that person could show up to the people that have been cursed anywhere, at any time, and kill them physically. So then, but then we also have the characters hiding in a closet.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you lose all kind of consequence whenever, like, if they could, they find you anywhere. They can show up at your house in the middle of the night. They don't know where you live. They don't have your address. It's a curse, right? Like, it's
attached to you.
right, exactly.
Right.
So you're going to run from this being and hide from it.
And it can
makes-
teleport through walls. It can go anywhere, do
It
anything.
apparates out of nothing.
Yes. Every
So-
time they hit, I was just like, fuck you.
Yeah. Okay. And then there was the one time boyfriend hit it with a crowbar or something.
Okay.
And it recoils. And I'm just like,
Maybe
okay,
it was iron and he'd watch Supernatural.
No. Okay, listen. Also,
I don't know the reference.
Also, though, you haven't
You're
watched
not a nerd.
the
Okay.
show Supernatural.
I have
heard
watched it, but I
ghosts.
don't know that much about it.
All right, so this is the other thing here. All right, there was low-hanging fruit. The lowest of hanging of fruit was in this scene. I knew this son of a bitch was going to come out of nowhere and hit this chick with with something, right?
Sure.
He runs past a body full of swords and he hits her with a fire poker. God damn
They're not
it.
iron. The fire poker was probably iron. And
Okay,
as
you
we
don't
all
know.
know, iron and salt are what you need to
Get
fight
out of here. You
ghosts and curses.
Oh, okay, it
Everybody
depends-
knows this. This is
you were
common
pulling.
knowledge. TBS has been teaching us.
What century were the swords made in? Because the Iron
Right.
Age has been around for quite a while.
That's
If we're
right.
talking about Bronze Age, we're early, right? Okay, so we're going Iron or Bronze, Iron Age.
When are the
I
swords from?
assume did she apparate the swords
She
themselves?
did. So they were
or-
ghost swords. You should be able to
Oh.
kill a ghost with a ghost sword for
Well,
sure.
yeah.
Well, maybe.
But clearly they didn't ghost away. They were still in the body. There was a body full of fucking swords. I was literally mad. I at that point, my hands were just like, I just kept doing this number right here because I just couldn't.
I did actually see that. There's many times I knew Blaine's reaction to
Yeah.
this movie just because his hands at one point were just like. But okay, so this is a good question actually for the spooky community out there. Can a spirit that can apparate physical material out of
Yeah.
nothing apparate something that can kill it?
Right.
Wouldn't that be kind of like a weird
Counterintuitive.
Yeah, it's like
Could be.
like a scorpion that generates toxin that kills itself.
Right. But either way, right? It's like in real life, you're running through the house and you're like, oh, I gotta save my girlfriend. I'm gonna kill this fucking ghost. And then you run by and you're like, ah,
Sword. No,
body
fire
full of
poker.
swords.
Yes.
Exactly. Right.
Or he came from a different direction and didn't pass the body full
you
of
don't think he
swords. That's
passed?
presumptuous
It was
of you.
right next
No,
to
it's not
it.
presumptuous.
Well,
it's
maybe
the
he
actual
saw the other
movie.
weapons first and was just like, look, I grabbed this first.
This fire poker. But even
also-
if you're holding the fire poker, running past the sword, you're like, oh, don't need the fire poker anymore.
You're
Here's
gonna
the
stop
sword.
and grab another weapon? We already got one.
The only way that I would agree with you on that is if, and I haven't I don't know enough details about this movie to agree
Neither do
with
the people that created it.
True. But if he got passed out in the fireplace room, I don't
He
think...
was outside.
He was out. Yes, he
He
came
was
from
nowhere
outside.
near the fire. Where did he get a fire poker?
I don't know. He came in through the living room.
Oh, no, wait. There is a fire pit. Maybe he ran to the fire pit that's like a mile away and then ran back to the house. He was gone for a while.
He was.
It's true.
Because she was like, oh, I thought
But
you
also, why
died.
did the demon just leave him alive? Or
Right.
the curse? Because
No,
if it's a
it
curse,
was a
it's not even
literal
her.
demon for him, but
it's
yes.
also like, why did
He had the devil,
the
actually, which
fool
we didn't get to fucking see. Coming
We
back to
did.
that again, no, they did not show the devil's
was
face.
barely
bit.
showed it. They,
No,
they-
it was just the eyes.
Yeah, you see the eyes. Oh, great.
Eyes.
Like,
convey
yeah,
a
for whatever
lot.
reason, they kind of morphed between. Maybe it was that
The devil
apparition
and
could
the
only
dead.
be one.
I think it could
Well,
only
no.
be one thing at a time. And
Yeah,
I think that was the
that's
problem.
literally which we didn't mention. You should mention about the old lady that was
the old lady. Yeah, she's just a. I don't know her name. But, as I said earlier,
You
I didn't.
let
know her,
me
I
down.
literally told you this earlier. I didn't know her
Her
name.
name's Olwen Fouéré.
But she's been in a bunch of horror
Nailed it.
movies.
I got it first time.
Yeah.
I just recognize her from a bunch of horror movies. So when she popped up as like the
guru.
knowledged person, I was like, oh, okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, she was in that awful movie Sea Fever that we watched when we did our water-themed movies. Y'all probably don't even remember that. Remember, it was about
Fever.
it was about like
I do remember that.
little creatures in the ocean that poisoned people, and all the critics were like, "This is the best movie ever made," and it was freaking.
It was a bad movie.
Sucked
I
butt.
barely remember it.
It was supposed to be a horror movie. It was when we did Underwater and Sea Fever in the
Yeah,
same
I remember
episode.
Underwater,
You don't remember
because
Sea Fever
Underwater
'cause
was good.
It was good, and the critics liked Sea Fever, and we thought it was.
Oh,
sucky.
no,
it was
I
like
do
Irish
remember.
and not good.
And they're on a boat the whole time, right?
All right, let's
I'm not going to
hate
blame
on
the
that.
Irish, but I
Okay,
mean, it
good,
just
thank
wasn't
you.
a good movie.
They're on a boat, right?
Yes, they're
Or
on
that
a
was
boat,
the whole
the whole
thing.
movie.
Yeah.
I remember
it's
that
like
they
a
got through the
virus.
hole,
Yeah.
and they were so like the
Yes.
whole bottom,
The whole
level.
hole?
the whole hole, the hole in the hole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen Sea Fever, don't. But yeah, she was in that and The Northman. She's been in a bunch of stuff. But
Yeah.
Anyway, she did show up in this movie as the wise old lady that wasn't worth a
That's
shit.
in every movie.
Yes, and couldn't help them at all.
And so that kind of also comes back to my whole like there's nothing you can do to stop this person, really. Like the fact that they actually did find a
Stop
way to kill them, because this being, we don't know the limitations of it, right?
Sure.
But it can appear anywhere, apparate, change. It's a shapeshifter.
It's kind of like It Follows.
Never seen it, but
Oh,
I'll
It
take your word
Follows
for it.
is awesome. It's one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yeah.
It's
Bruh.
very good.
Well,
and
you
actually,
need to
it is.
check it out.
You need to see it just for the concept. See, in all seriousness, I don't even want to spoil it, but like
Okay.
the concept of
Oh, wait.
how it works. For It Follows, I don't
Dude,
even.
I
I can't
can't
spoil it,
even-
but like it's one of the most creative.
Is it like the Smile movie?
No.
No.
That's a movie called Smile. That's something
Yes.
different.
Yeah. Well,
It
that's why I
follows-
said, is it like the movie?
Yes.
No.
Smile?
Yes.
Oh,
it
is
is.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's a similar concept.
Because I saw the trailer for that, at least. So,
It's
No.
a similar concept. You should check this out, though.
Yeah, It
It
Follows
Follows.
is excellent. It's highly recommend. It's probably in the past like 15 years or so. It's one of the best horror movies that's
Yeah.
come out.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I have a lot of qualms with this movie. I think it's an absolute mess. I do think that Tarot could have been a good movie. I think first and foremost, it should have been rated R. With it being rated R and it being capitalizing on the kills, I think we should have gotten every single one of these brutal kills on screen. I think that these characters, as far as the tarot creatures, in the trailers, they made it look a little bit more interesting because they showed them, and the tiny shots where they showed the characters in this movie were in that trailer, and it made you think that there was going to be a lot more of that, and there wasn't. But like, I think that if they had, I don't know, maybe it was a budget issue, but like, honestly, it seemed like the budget was there. To really show these creatures, make them super unsettling and creepy, and actually just lean into, in my opinion, hiding them all the way up until the kill, and then showing them, making it terrifying, and having them kill the people. And do that for every character as you go through. I think that this could have been an interesting, fun story, but this was just a complete miss. I think that the movie is a mess, and I don't know. I don't even care to talk about it anymore. It just wasn't good. Like, it was just all the tropes, especially even all the way up until the end when we find out that Jason Batalon's character has survived, which was the dumbest shit ever, and how he survived played off of a previous joke that wasn't funny, that they tried to, like, play as a joke, where he's like, oh, I don't like my roommate Steve. And it was
Todd.
Todd, yes. They literally give you a second to like laugh, but no one laughed because it wasn't funny. And then they let him survive, and they end the movie, and we're all like, how did he survive? This really is the dumbest movie ever. And then when he explains how he survived, they also go for laughs, and it once again wasn't funny. And he's like, oh, Todd. And then the movie ends like, terrible ending. He shouldn't have survived. Like, it should have just at least been like a twist, and the ghost was this character, and it was actually there to murder them. I don't know, something. Anything could have been better than the fucking ending we got. It was a terrible ending.
Yeah, well, it comes again down to like what scope that this being has, right? So you're saying that because someone who isn't cursed, well, I'll even give them the benefit of the doubt and say that it's because someone who isn't cursed shows up, then they're safe. Like, that's you're spreading yourself pretty thin there. Like,
Right. Well, and we don't even know that was a rule for this ghost.
Right.
We're just assuming because he survived for no reason.
Right. Well, and also because whenever the boyfriend and girlfriend were together, they were still getting chased.
Right.
So they were both cursed. So
cursed.
it's not just anybody.
But this
right?
wasn't necessarily an explained rule.
Right.
Right.
But it's a
But how do you
dumbass
explain
rule.
that, you know?
I mean, well, if on multiple kills people showed up and the kill stopped and then, or whatever, you can show it
Just
previously.
hang out with strangers
Right.
all the
Right.
time. Or anybody. If you were married.
And that's the type of thing. We've seen similar things in horror movies before.
Yeah.
Like, they could have done that and it would be believable. But it's like, then you lean into that of what's really scary is when the one time that you catch yourself alone, you get murdered. Like, but
Right.
that wasn't this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meh.
So,
Yeah. Meh.
so
Yeah, 'cause
is it a bogus
movie.
now?
Yeah, I think it is a bogus. I mean, it was okay. That's one thing. I was like, this is an okay movie.
Yeah.
But I would never like watch it again.
Oh, hell no.
Never.
Absolutely.
Because like
I will
now
forget
once
it.
you see it, you're just like, okay, this is what it is.
Forget about this movie next week.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
forget
I
about
will.
it when I get home.
You'll watch a review and forget that you watched it.
Yeah. We're like, what
Right.
the hell did we do last week?
When did we even watch this movie? Yeah, so I don't know. Y'all want to button it up, go see what the
Yeah.
critics thought?
Let's go
Because
see
I
the critics.
really don't.
Oh, yeah.
Don't care.
I am
at
actually
all.
really curious to see how many critics and what they thought of this. I would be very surprised.
What are you thinking, like 10 critics?
I'll give it 35.
You're thinking 35?
There's not going to be many critics. On
Yeah, I mean,
this.
it just came out today. I agree. I'm going to guess 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a low number.
It
Yep.
will be low. It is lower than y'all expected, and I won. So
You didn't say anything, you son of a bitch.
we
You didn't say anything,
are
so-
at a 17% currently by only 6 critics.
6. Damn. Matt, it was lower than what you
Yeah.
initially
Yeah.
said. I
It's
thought what you
6
said
critics.
was low.
And it's low enough that we haven't even reached a critics consensus, which is what they regularly do on Rotten Tomatoes. So there aren't even enough for them to consider it official. I don't know what number they actually trigger this
It's
at.
got to be like 10.
Yeah, I have no idea. But so it'll be very interesting to see. But clearly we agree with these guys. One person gave it a solid tomato, Collider of all places, who said, while it still manages to scare, no, the fuck it doesn't. Inflicting fairly brutal scenes of violence, no, it doesn't. On characters we have come to care about, no, I don't. About
Care about the characters? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. What? Okay, sorry, continue.
Yes. And understand would have made tarot go from scary to downright horrifying. Oh, okay. Hold
Yep.
on. Okay, let me
Choke
go
on
back through this. I think that actually what she said might have made more sense now. While it still manages to scare, inflicting fairly brutal scenes of violence on characters we have come to care about and understand would have made tarot go from scary to downright horrifying. So I think with the way that she worded this, she is actually saying that we don't care about the characters and that it's not brutal violence.
She left out the keyword if.
Yes.
If
Yes.
it did these brutal kills on
Yes.
characters that we cared about. I'm missing any kind of if. in there.
It's the way that she worded it was wonky,
Sure.
but she gave it a 6 out of 10, and absolutely not. But so we
6?
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other critics, IGN being one, Variety. Todd says co-written, directed, and executive produced by Spenser Cohen and Anna Halberg. The supernatural thriller repeatedly leverages the genre's laziest mood setting and suspense-building devices to keep its audience on the edge of their seats, which is spot on. The critics are right this time, I think. So
Yeah.
A missed opportunity of potentially macabre Final Destination style horror thriller. Totally agree. I actually thought about Final Destination when I was watching this.
True. Yeah.
And I was like, this could have been good, but it's not. And it could have been like that, but it didn't. And then Bloody Disgusting, which is a horror outlet, Megan Navarro said, Tarot has the makings of a breezy gateway horror movie, perfect for sleepovers, though it's undermined by surface-level characters and storytelling. And that's the thing, is I do think that there's a place for PG-13 horror movies, especially for your 13, 14, 15-year-olds and sleepovers and, you know, stuff that your parents are going to let you watch. The problem is that when it's whiffed this poorly, like this is just the worst kind of a PG-13 horror movie.
Yeah, but I guess if you're a 13-year-old and you're watching this movie, or 14-year-old, you probably would enjoy this movie.
Maybe.
I could see them, because, I mean, they don't know. They're not mature. Like, this movie should have had a sex scene. Like, there could have been interesting things that they could have done to build the characters, and they just didn't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, the characters had no depth.
Like, there was two, at least one couple in a relationship. Like, we could have had a sex. No, they broke up. We could have had a sex scene.
You just want to see lesbian scissor, Matt. That's
no,
what this
they're not
is about.
lesbians. It was the hot white
There was
dude.
two. Okay, there was the lesbian.
Three couples
then. There's the lesbian
They were
couple.
the Scissor Sisters,
the other
and
couple.
then the black dude and the white girl.
They weren't lesbians.
She literally
yes,
said,
they
"You should call me a
absolutely were.
wifey."
I think it was just like a friendly
Chris,
wifey.
you are very close with some lesbians. You should know lesbians.
Chris,
by
you're
now.
not
How did you
100%
not
wrong.
see these?
Well, Blaine, hold on.
There's no guarantee here.
Right, and
I don't think they were in a relationship.
They were.
Because she wasn't as broken up as because they were talking
kissing
about
on each other. Huh?
They never kissed each other.
I
They did
missed
in the
that
fire.
scene.
They kissed each
Blaine,
other.
you're just imagining things. You want this to be
Right.
a lesbian sex scene.
Blaine's
Is what I'm
seeing things
hearing.
now.
No.
They were like sitting next to each other, like
They were
kind of holding
up
each other.
other's butts. She talked about calling her wifey. She was kissing her all on the cheek and the face when they were sitting at the fire. How
girls,
did y'all not
girls
see
just do that.
Bro, listen.
Look, okay, I'm the expert on lesbians. Let's just put that out there. I am the lesbian
He is
master.
one.
We're all
True.
lesbians here.
Also, yeah, I am a lesbian. There is nothing that gave me the inkling that
Listen,
they were
all right,
lesbians.
Here's the deal. Y'all both know some lesbians.
Yeah.
Ask them to watch this awful
Fairly.
movie. Matt's related to some.
Right.
Ask them to watch this movie, and they can tell y'all whether these are lesbians or not. But I promise you guys, they were in a relationship.
Okay, so the only way that I would agree with you is if they were going so anti-woke or whatever the term is that they didn't even want to like bring focus to it
They
in
didn't.
the slightest. There was
Well,
no
No, so I'm on the fence. I think it could be either way, that they could have been lesbians.
No.
Or they could have just been best college friends, because I just remember in college so many girls were like that.
Also.
And I went to
True.
I went to a
But they were like
a
also like
lesbian
part-time
school.
lesbians.
They could have
in
been
college,
part-time
too, though.
lesbians
Look.
or not. Because they did call each other wifey, but I knew plenty of girls that were like that, and they were not lesbians. But they would be like, "This is my wifey," and kind of shit. So like, it could
It's
have
a
gone
best
either way.
friend
They
thing.
never actually like held hands or made out. Where the other couple, I was
They
like,
were
they're
up
a
each
couple.
other's butt, though, dude.
Doesn't matter, man.
Were they?
They were on the couch. Well, she was the first one to die, so we didn't get to see a ton of it.
Well, that's the problem.
Exactly. So what are you talking about?
They were like from the same event, like already on the phone together. At
Well,
home.
she had planned it. They were on the phone all together, but it's like they might have been lesbians. That's why I'm on the fence.
They were at the same event that everybody else was at.
And then they were on the phone together, like
And
right
then
after.
they called each other like lesbians always do.
Okay, well, my sisters talk a lot, so
Yeah. See.
Okay, yeah,
and they're
but
lesbians.
Yeah.
I talk. Okay,
I
I'm,
do
not,
not
I'm a
talk
bad
on the
example, but I am a lesbian. Okay, so we're arguing over how many couples.
We are having a more exciting conversation about if these two women were lesbians.
It's literally about how many
Okay,
couples
well,
are in
also,
this movie.
the original part was this. I said a sex scene, and Blaine was like, "Oh, you want to see lesbians?"
Somebody was mentioning sex scenes. Not.
yes.
Oh, it was you.
It was
It
me.
wasn't me.
You wanted nothing
Yes.
but sex.
I like to have some boob in horror movies.
Listen, boob
Okay,
anywhere,
so-
really.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, so I'm starting to understand better now why Matt likes horror movies
yes,
so much.
it's for the tits.
He just likes nudity.
Yeah, of
and or
course.
sex scenes.
Yes,
of
They go
course.
hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, I like horror movies too if it's nothing but sex scenes. But
You go watch any old horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
They
Okay.
all
There will be-
have
are we talking about
Yeah.
the
A
70s?
sex
movie.
scene.
Yes,
Because
anything
the
pre
70s
like the
is nothing but
2000s.
sex scenes.
There's at least a sex scene
For sure.
in the movie.
And that adds a lot to the movie.
It's depth.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, well, it
Yeah.
depends on how big the penis is.
All right.
It could be depth, or it might not so much.
It might not so much.
In
depth.
my case, not so much. Okay, so that's a drawback to a horror movie. Interesting. I'm not a big horror person, so knowing that sex scenes have a lot to do with horror movies, it puts it in a new perspective.
I mean, I just feel like they do add something to horror movie. On a
it
serious
adds.
note, like
Because most
they
of the
just
time,
really
the
do.
horror event happens near when the bone-in is going on.
Yes.
So it's just like, oh, my tits are out. Don't stab me. And then like,
boom, stabbed. That's
Stab.
it. Boom, stab.
you've never
stab.
seen that?
Yeah, it happens all the time.
That's literally.
This could lead in so many different directions. Why? That's the go-to. All right.
Yeah, that's what
My
makes
tits
them
are
good.
out. Don't stab me. How many times have you heard this, Blaine?
No,
In real life.
He's a serial killer. He's heard it all.
Every
right? That's what
every
I'm
murder
going
that
for.
I've committed has to be during sex,
no.
so that they say that.
And that's what they're worried
Yeah.
about. Like, not that I'm gonna
or
die.
like, no, Mister, don't chop my dick off. I'm fucking. And then the knife.
Okay, no, that sounds familiar
Yeah,
to me.
yeah, exactly.
I've heard that before.
Yeah,
I mean, that happens. So,
Wow.
on that note, since we've sent you off with more fun than you had in this movie, if you watched it, you're
Big
welcome.
facts.
Yes.
This movie sucks, but it's not going to get over a bogus, scaring freaking teeth. It's probably going to be in the heinous, especially with the number of horror fans we have, including like horror writers / reviewers in the app with. I mean, it's just there are people in this app that are gonna, if they do see this, they're gonna freaking roast the shit out of it. I can guarantee you.
It's kind of weird and ironic that it sucks ass, but it doesn't suck enough.
It
ass,
doesn't actually.
You know?
If they sucked more asses in this movie, it would be a better movie.
Exactly.
It's, I can get behind that. No, don't kill me. You're sucking my ass. That's if it had
You
had
can't
that
kill
long.
me, curse, if I'm having sex.
All right, so it sounds like we need to make a movie.
We do need to make
we
a
do
movie.
need to
Let's
make a
make it
movie.
happen. All right,
Yeah.
if we get
Yes.
enough subscribers
Yes,
to Critic,
we will make this.
We'll make a movie. I'll film it.
We will.
Blaine's gonna have his ass sucked. Matt,
Don't even look at me. Don't even look at me.
look, you're the one that wants the sex scenes, okay?
Yep.
Yeah, but not
So-
with Blaine.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Who
Blaine-
said it? Who took it there? You took it there, Matt.
Blaine,
Chris was going.
You'll
there.
have the sex
I'll have a
scene.
sex scene with you. You know,
well,
because I
you
love
know.
you, bud.
Yeah.
We're
Oh,
we're
thanks.
bros.
You're gonna.
We go way back.
We do go way
So
back.
far
You
back.
guys will act about it. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll act to this scene.
Yeah.
So we'll act so hard.
So hard for you.
Brokeback
I
Mountain
mean,
styles.
we'll just be very modern, with this scene and make it very progressive and
Ooh.
Well,
if it's woke, you won't like it. So.
That's true.
No, you won't be
Well,
awake.
There won't
Don't
be
worry.
any nudity in the sex scenes. There will be a sex scene where everyone's wearing their clothes. So.
I've done that.
Oh well, yeah. That doesn't
No, I do
surprise me.
now.
I'm sure you do. So, all right, guys, we're done talking about this. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna send you off with some songs. Every week we do send off songs. Each one of us give you guys a song. We did our Rotten Tomato scores. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you were
yeah.
wondering
Yeah,
about,
good.
Chris. We did them. There were only 6 of them, so there wasn't much to question. And there's no reviews in Criticless so far. So, because everybody's seen Free Guy. So.
Look at us, rebels.
I wish we would.
I deeply wish we would have seen Free Guy. It's Matt's
I
fault.
still appreciate that we saw this though. We've been
For the
rating. We've seen
content?
all this
Yeah.
really good stuff.
It's true.
So it's nice to see something
True.
There you go.
shitty.
Yeah.
And
There's
nobody
something
wants to
about-
hear us rant and rave about
Look,
things.
I own a
think so.
mirror. I see shitty all
every
the time.
day.
Are you looking in the toilet? What are you doing?
Yeah.
A mirror. I said a mirror.
Yeah, you use the mirror.
The
look in
reflection
toilet. What are you
in
talking
the
about? You're
water.
an angel of a person.
Oh, see,
thanks,
look at
Matt.
that. He's
All
just
right,
being real
so I'm
sweet
gonna
today.
eat his ass. You're gonna film it. We're changing up this movie.
we gotta mix it up. All right, so I'm gonna send y'all off with my send off song first because I'm the best, and I had a lot of trouble this week because I haven't been listening to anything new currently. So I'm gonna listen to something I've been listening to for a while. This is from an artist called Binky, Binki, and the song is called Freakin'. It's a kind of upbeat, modern rap-ish song, kind of a poppy rap song, is how Binky's stuff normally is. But it's a fun song, so check it out. And over to you, Chris.
Oh, me. I have been listening to a bunch of things, strangely. Well, it's the whole Manchester Orchestra took me down a trail.
It triggered
of-
you?
Down a rabbit
in
hole.
the best way. It's the best
Okay,
trigger.
Good.
So what I'm listening to, or my song today, is by Grayson Ham, and the song is called "Carry On." And My Wayward Son. Yeah, you got it, Blaine. Exactly. That's the song. No, but this is a mellow version of Modest Mouse. So like whenever it first starts out, my initial gut reaction, I was just like, "Oh, Modest Mouse," but it's a mellow version of it, so it doesn't go as hard in the Modest Mouse version. But it's good. Check it out.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
And
And
then
then I have, what's it called? Bang Your Head by Wargasm UK featuring Fred Durst.
Whoa.
Fred
Fred
That's
fucking
what's up.
Durst.
He's still alive.
Okay, hold on. Let me do a quick interjection here.
Okay.
Fred Durst just recently released a movie that is apparent that he directed.
What?
Yes, Fred Durst.
It's a porn.
Yeah, right. Yes, he directed a
Fred
movie
Durst,
that recently
Limp
came out.
Bizkit.
Yeah, boy. And
Oh,
the
it's
movie
so limp for
is
you, baby?
called The Fanatic, and I'm trying to pull it up. It was easier to search because I had my IMDb screen up. But it stars John Travolta of all people. Fred Durst has directed. John Travolta is not dead.
He's not dead. His son's dead.
Who am I thinking of? Who am I thinking of then?
Let you process that one over there. I don't know.
The Fanatic, I saw a review come through on Criticless, and it was given a 0 by Chris Reviews, by the way.
Well,
So, and he
okay.
just said, "What
It's
is
not
this?"
me.
Now, granted, Chris Reviews, he can skewer some stuff.
Yeah.
And then Stain of Mind actually also saw this movie, and he said it is hilariously bad. I've been hearing that this is like one of the worst movies ever made. So, if you want to see a bad movie directed by
do.
Fred Durst, also, if you're watching on YouTube, please look at the screenshots of John Travolta. Please,
Jeez
Chris, look at John
Louise.
Travolta.
Dude, he's a badass. What the fuck?
is he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
wait,
is the
Are y'all
craziest-
saying that he looks bad?
So yes. So in this
Wait,
movie,
let me see again then.
I mean, he's
Maybe
wearing
didn't-
a wig. I mean, he's
No,
bald,
I
so
don't.
he's definitely wearing a
that's
wig.
a wig, actually.
Dude, I would feel honored to look that way at 60, whatever how old
So
he is.
also, this movie is about a murderous autistic man played by John Travolta.
Huh.
So that stalks celebrities.
Interesting.
Murder on the Spectrum, I think.
Yeah. they
I mean, we got
missed
Love
out.
on a Spectrum.
Yeah,
They missed out.
They missed out on a name there. So,
Yeah.
And
anyways,
what's the name of it?
The Fanatic.
All right.
It is
I'm putting it in
streaming
my
according to
to-watch.
Criticless. It's on Prime Video and Apple and stuff. So if you don't want to pay for it, I don't know that it's anywhere. But sailing the high seas is always a thing for you criminals.
Yep.
So Matt, sorry to mess up your song, but so
Sure.
a Fred Durst song.
What I was saying, yeah, he's featured on this song that's by Wargasm UK.
Okay.
And that's a chick.
Okay.
And like this song is it's like a headbanging. I want to get into a mosh pit.
Okay.
But also it might cause an aneurysm kind of song, but I
Interesting.
can't stop listening to it.
Okay.
So it's like this wide variety of things because like it's all these different sounds. It's not really appeasing to listen to. I don't even know how to describe it. Like I wasn't gonna do this song.
It's just addicting.
It's a bad
It's
song.
a meth song.
Yeah.
It's not good for you, but it's addicting.
Yeah, and I was like, I wasn't gonna do this song, but then I couldn't
Right.
stop listening to it today.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
That's a weird thing.
I gotta throw it out there for other people to hear.
Right.
Because she's kind of like rapping,
Well,
but with weird sounds.
with having
and-
Fred, like who doesn't want to hear Fred?
Right.
And Fred Durst has been having a lot of. You don't want to hear Fred, Chris. He has actually been having
had
some
enough.
awesome stuff come out lately. Where he's performing places and he's doing like some of his OG Limp Bizkit songs. In full cowboy attire, which is like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
That's
at
sounds
like
pretty good.
country festivals, by the way.
Really?
Yes, it is wild. You need to see it if you haven't. So go look up Fred Durst country festival or whatever, and you can see it, and it's great. He's literally like singing like "Do It All for the Nookie" and like honky tonk dancing. So I'm just saying, it's good shit. It's good shit.
I've never been a fan of Limp Bizkit except for Behind Blue Eyes. And it was a,
Okay,
and
that's
it's
a cover. Yeah.
So
That's
That
good
was a
cover.
hell of a cover.
Good
it
cover.
is chef's kiss, but
it's good
it
stuff.
always takes me back to a roller skating rink.
Ooh, fries.
No, the one in Huntersville.
Yeah. Oh, Huntersville. Huh,
Yeah.
nice.
Weird.
Yeah. Roller skating and Fred Durst.
Yep.
You know,
Go
the
hand
best
in
of
hand.
times.
I'll go hand in hand with you.
Okay.
I'll
I'll do it too.
So on that note, guys, this has been really fun. We've had a good time. This movie sucked butt. And
So bad.
we can all thank Matt for wanting to watch a horror movie.
Thanks, Matt.
I'm glad we did it too, Matt. Honestly,
Yeah.
we've been seeing a lot
Yeah.
of good stuff.
Look.
I mean, we're not going to.
It's time to mix
It's
stuff.
time to-
We can't have good episodes all the
Right.
time. We have to
Yeah.
have bad episodes.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, how else would we have gotten to talk about sex scenes in horror movies? So,
Right.
And how it's lacking.
yes, it is lacking. It's
So
always.
I think
lacking.
our next horror movie will probably be Maxine.
Oh.
And that's going to have sex in it.
that will definitely have sex in it,
Because the title is little MAXXXINE.
and all the other movies have as well.
What's
Yes.
Because the first one was about 70s porn, the second one was about 20s.
It didn't have sex in it.
Yes,
I don't. Do you
Yeah.
think Pearl had a sex in it?
Pearl
I don't
did
remember.
have sex. I don't know if
Oh.
they showed anything, but there was
Yeah.
like sex in
Okay. I think I had one.
it. Anyways,
Well, are you familiar with like Pornhub? Or, like,
No, no, no.
You can get nudity
we
and sex
want
scenes.
high quality titties. You know
I
what I'm
want to see
saying?
it on the TV.
We want
Really big.
people who
Oh,
are
the
getting
big
paid
screen.
millions of dollars to they're getting paid the big bucks to show
Multiple dollars.
the titas, you know.
And the DDoS.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we've had people request to have a strongometer on Criticless to where if there's dick, you can rate length,
Oh.
girth.
I thought you meant
know.
for the podcast.
No, no,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
no,
look,
no.
I'll tell
We
you right
can-
now, I'm losing. Like, I'll be the bottom. Look, just put
Not
Chris
our-
at
oh.
we're the slong meter for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Chris is at the bottom.
Listen,
We'll end it right there.
For the movies, you know, where if there's a dick on screen, where does it rank? You know, and
Okay, well, I did. I think I did. Not review, but mention 28 days later.
yeah,
28
yeah,
days
yeah,
later.
there's a wiener.
Yeah.
In that.
Oh,
There
and
is.
it's my
See.
size. Just say small. No offense, Killian.
Cillian Murphy, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, look. I'm agreeing with
Dick
you.
Brothers.
I'm
There you go.
agreeing with your dick.
you
Your
know,
dick is agreeable with me. We'll
if
put it
there's
that way.
anything you want to hear from
Yeah.
a woman, that is an agreeable dick you
It's
got
agreeable.
on you.
Also, if you want to know what my dick looks like, watch 28 Days Later. Spoilers.
And on that note, we're gonna get out of here, guys. So this has been a blasty blast. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Later, guys.